Thanks for joining us. My name is Weistra. This is Diego. I'm from FHIR, and together with HL7 we run every year since last year this State of FHIR survey around DevDays, where we ask a whole bunch of countries, what is your current state of FHIR, where are you at, what are you looking forward to, what are your barriers, etc. And these are the results.
We are trying to include more countries every year and streamlining our network of contacts to see who can answer the questions. It's not always easy because they don't even know.
Yeah.
But we are trying to make it more scientific every year.
Yeah, which probably brings us to our materials and methods. We sent this out to all the known HL7 affiliates. So there's a lot of, every country has a lot of countries have an HL7 affiliate, like HL7 Netherlands, etc. But then a lot of countries also don't, or we just know other people who are also intimately involved with their national standards development, like people from the government, the Ministry of Health, or they have a national standards body, or anyone who we know.
We have now two regional partners, one for Africa and one from Southeast Asia, but we could not yet get them to fill this on time. For next year, I think we will have the information from the 14 countries in Southeast Asia and almost 13 from Africa, so we will be more complete.
Yeah, and with the WHO, we're also working.
And also WHO, yes.
Yeah. So you'll see also later that we have that there's even more countries coming in after the deadline that we had to set for making the report. So we might update this at some point. Then the other thing to note is that we asked per country, we tried to get at least one response. So we aim for someone who's very knowledgeable and then at least one response, rather than trying to get a representative sample of entire Brazil and see how FHIR is perceived everywhere. So keep that in mind. This is generally one person's or multiple people perspective in a country. And it's also good to remember that we really focus on the kind of more the standards bodies. I think sometimes you see that reflected in we have a slide, for example, on are these techniques implemented in your country? And maybe that some of them, like Smart on FHIR or something, is something they are less aware of and they're more involved with building IGs and these kind of things. So probably good to...
Yeah, a lot of countries are still in the base IG development phase, or even thinking on creating the base IG. So they are not thinking in the other tools yet.
No. So sometimes it is a real reflection, but it's probably good, a grain of salt to keep. Let's move in. Oh yeah, so who responded? I think 1/3 was about HL7 affiliates, and the other third were other people who were knowledgeable within the country. Who responded? These red countries are all the responses from this year. We have 38 responses included in the report. So there's a PDF report which will be dropped soon. We have 38 included. There's 5 more that submitted after the deadline. So that's a total of 43. You'll see sometimes in the slides it adds up to 43. I'll try to mention that when I was able to include them, but other ones in the report were not able to include them yet. Last year we had 32 responses, and under that you see how many unique countries we got. So we had 24 last time, and now we have 29 or 32, depending on who you're counting in.
We should have more than 60 next year.
That's a good
goal. At least.
Nice. That's nice. Yeah. What's also interesting is that this year this part was also colored, and Alaska was colored. I guess last time our designer forgot that those were part of Canada and the US. Well, not very relevant for the results. These were the actual countries that were included. So what you see in the first 3 rows included are the countries that made it into the report this year. Then we have another small row after the deadline, 3 countries that came in after the deadline, and sometimes you see a little +1 here for Croatia or for the UK. So those 5 came in after the deadline, and then Not this year, were countries that did make it last year, but not this year, didn't send in any answer.
That doesn't mean that they are not using FHIR.
Certainly. Yeah. I think what we see more reflected this year is more Southeast Asia. We've been able to reach more of them, more within Europe, all different parts of Europe, from Belgium to Croatia to the Baltics and Sweden. I think those are the main differences. We have a few less results from I think South America this year than we had last year. Well,
We sent the emails.
yeah, we did. We'll keep trying next time. And sometimes you have multiple results from the same country. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they do not agree with each other, which is to be expected. We try to, in most cases, just show them both, and show that they're in multiple places in the same report. Okay, this is a question. I should explain this graph. We asked them two questions. What's the current use of FHIR? Low, high, or medium? Those are the rows in here. So bottom row is we're currently low users of FHIR. Top row is we're high users of FHIR. And then the other one is the expected change. So the middle is we expect it to stay the same. And then, well, as you expect, that side is we expect it to go up quite a bit. That side is we expect to go down quite a bit. And then you see how many countries were in there last year. These are the numbers from 2023. So skewed, of course, to FHIR is growing, but we are low to medium. Then if we look at this year, we see mainly we got more answers. So you see even more skewed to what we had last year. We are medium, and we expect it to grow quite a bit. But we also have some people who actually say they expect a decrease for the first time. I'm not completely sure if they just misunderstood the answer and just thought, okay, we just expect a little increase. Or I think some of the comments actually seem to hint at, for example, Thailand. I think the comment was like, well, the current government is not very involved with FHIR. We hope for a new government at some point. So I think that's it could actually be a real answer. Who's medium, high, and rising? That's the this group, the biggest group. We see a lot of Europe in there, so the Nordics there, UK to Cyprus, North America in there, Oceania, Israel, Argentina, Brazil, and then some Asian countries in there. And then that's medium, high, and rising. Then we have low and rising. So Luxembourg and Philippines are currently not using it a lot, but definitely expect that to grow. Then we have low and stable. Everything with slow in there. Slovakia, Slovenia, and Iceland and Croatia. And then we have the decreasers. Again, I'm not sure if that's true for Latvia. It may be true for Thailand. I'm not sure about South Korea.
Thailand, we have Alvin Marcelo, who is knowledgeable. Maybe he didn't understand what you asked.
Could be. Yeah, Thailand, I think it could actually be correct. But yeah. So still a lot of room to grow, but also a lot of enthusiasm and growing. Good. Let's move on to the FHIR versions. We asked them, to what extent is this FHIR version being used in your jurisdiction right now? Not at all on the left, main standard on the right. If you're good at math, you'll see that doesn't add up to 100% because I left off the question mark answer where I don't know how far it's implemented. If you are good at FHIR, you also know that I forgot R4B in the question.
So is everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. That was about my joke, but thank you. Yeah, so I guess that's symptomatic. But you see DSTU2, well, that's definitely phasing out. STU3, you'll see some countries who are still even saying the main standard. I'm from the Netherlands. I know who that is.
UK also, or Netherlands?
UK is in the one of these categories, yeah. But this is the Netherlands here, main standard, and then because early adopters, and that's what you get for being early adopter.
That's the punishment.
Yeah, that's harder to switch. So a lot of people, of course, on R4. I guess we see that on the sign outside too, the little board where you can pin stuff. Some people starting to use R5 already. I think there's some, Luxembourg, I think, was looking at it. Estonia, as Ewout made a joke this morning. And maybe Portugal. We didn't get an answer from them, but I think they're using R5. And some people are looking at R6 already. I think Germany said, yeah, we're looking at a little bit. Yep.
And who as the World Health Organization is using Release 5.2 for a project for medication identification, because medication knowledge is best represented in Release 5.
Yeah.
So they are using Release 5.
Yeah.
But they are not in the survey. We need to ask survey also.
They're not a country.
The multinational organisms.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I think luckily those FHIR versions are closer together anyway in most cases. So that's let's hope we all get to R6 at some point. Current regulation. We asked, is there any regulation in place for the use of standards for electronic health data exchange? Overwhelming, yes. Of course, it skewed a bit to the countries that did respond, maybe, but that's a good sign. And then 6 of them don't have one in place. And of those with a national regulation, 2/3 mandate or advise FHIR, and then about half have no deadline attached. And I think also the majority does not have any fines for non-compliance. So it's a lot of more open-ended regulation. And not that many carrots and sticks yet. Speaking of carrots, half of them do have funds available to stimulate FHIR adoption. So I think it's probably a bit more popular to give.
That changed year to year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And probably it starts with carrots and it ends with sticks at some point. National standards. 3/4 of them have a national standards organization on electronic health data exchange. So anybody that is making stuff. And 3/4 have a national FHIR data model already. And that is generally also being used. So they also have, 3/4 also have use case specific FHIR standards. And generally they then also derive from the national data model, which I guess is a good sign. You'll interrupt me when you want to say something, right? Good. This is a new question that we did for the first time this year. To what extent are these FHIR protocols being used within your jurisdiction? We see the REST API is most popular, of course. I guess that is what FHIR strives to be, but also we strive to be a good replacement for FHIR documents and for documents and
we will
messaging.
see IPS. And IPS will change that, the second row towards widely.
Yeah, I think that's true. And there's already quite a bit of use. Some people say it's widely used already in here. And messaging is apparently the least popular one. Let's see, this is, just maybe a bit random element in there, but how many people are using questionnaires and SDC? Quite a bit. Quite a bit of usage. And then since this was more a data modeling group, also asked how popular is FHIR shorthand compared to other ways of profiling, which is quite widely used. You see there's a lot of popularity here in these standards bodies for FHIR shorthand. Then another similar kind of question, we asked a bunch of questions on to what extent is this FHIR technique or sub-specification being used within your country. Again, I would say this maybe skew a bit towards not being used because it's more on the more on the standards development side, where we ask the questions. But yeah, of these, Smart on FHIR is definitely used most. I guess something like. SQL on FHIR is not used quite that much. Firecast is not used that widely, although
I think that will change
it's more
in the next years because that's a thing of that they don't even know that this exists.
Exactly.
They
Yeah, I
need
think
to-
it's in the. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's an initial step that they just know about FHIR, so they need to know that this is available too, and it's part of the toolbox.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for 4 years now, but
Yeah.
they need to listen also.
Nah, it's a long,
No, it's
long breath.
it's
yeah.
a on-ramping thing.
Yeah, and subscriptions also get some more adoption. Bulk data seems to be growing. So it would be really interesting to compare this next year with the answers that we have done. See where they trend. FHIR adoption. We also had this question last year. Who adopts it? Why do they adopt it? And why don't they adopt it? I think the numbers are quite similar to last year. EHR vendors are a big adopter. Then app developers, then care providers, and insurance companies are following behind. Why do they adopt it? Still, just as last year, they put innovation as their top, but this time it's matched with regulation and grants, so it's maybe a bit more. Last year they were very clear, like, no, it's all about innovation, we do it for ourselves, and now it's a bit more maybe being pushed by government regulation too. And then improved care is following that.
We need to add ancillary services in the next year, so to see if they are moving their previous interfaces to APIs.
Yeah, yeah, that is a good question. I think we also asked them, you could also fill in other, and then we ask free text. So in the report, there's a lot of free text from every country. So if you want to dive into one country, that could be super interesting. Throw it in your favorite LLM. But you'll see also when we ask the why not question that legacy standards are a big part of why people fill in other and being hard to shift to FHIR. But lack of FHIR knowledge still on the top, just like last year. There's still a lot of shortage of people, shortage of training, shortage of knowledge, which I'm sure HL7 would be happy to provide. Unclear regulations, I think it's in the wrong order here, but high investment costs is the second one, and unclear regulations and unclear benefits are after that. Patient advocacy, do you?
Yeah, it's not very common, so only 40% are aware of patient advocacy in their country, and only 2/3 of those pay specific attention to standards.
Yeah.
So,
I think, oh, Dave, you just came in at the right moment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Patient advocacy. Did you speak to Brad Marquardt already?
Yes, not about this.
Oh, okay, go on. You're still going to talk to him, right? Why he filled in that he's not aware of patient advocacy for standards? Okay. Yeah.
Shall I go back out?
Yeah, if you have the answer, that'd be great. No, please don't. Good, that's the patient advocacy part. 3/4 of the group, I'm not sure where we're on time, by the way, but thank you, that's what I was looking for. 3/4 were aware of successful FHIR use cases, luckily, of all of those that we interviewed. And what did successful mean for them? Mainly improved access to information.
because that's access, patient access and provider access is what they are all starting with.
Yeah.
So most of the countries are working on that. So that explains this graph, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, improved access is the big driver, and then improved health outcomes and lowering costs. And let's hope that they follow eventually from all of our efforts, because that's what we strive for, keeping healthcare affordable and changing patient lives. And I think that's all we had to share today. If you have any feedback, scan the QR code. And I do want to thank everyone who responded to the questionnaire. If you miss any countries and you know who we need to reach out to, let me know. Let Diego know. And
We have a list of 90 countries that we can contact, but we don't have the contacts.
Yeah.
So we will research during this year who to call.
Exactly. And then I also want to thank the co-authors, the marketing from FHIR and from HL7 International for helping write the report and get out the survey and get out the questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions? Let's go.
So I think this, for example, like I think we need to do more market promotion of the state of survey, FHIR survey. Why? Because I remember I look at the FHIR chat group. I posted a message around June 22 last year, and first asked Graham, do you have any like report on the FHIR adoption around different country? Then he also not aware. Then also I asked him in the chat group, anyone aware? Then no one is aware.
No one knew about the report from last year? Or?
No one knows there's such called like a state of survey, FHIR survey around the world.
We do it
But
every year.
I think you said 2022, right?
No, I posted a message on 2023 last year. So no one is aware. Even Graham also not aware.
Wow. Okay, we'll send Graham a hand-signed copy. Yeah, good. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, in fact, second question is more like also, I think for example, like maybe for Diego, like it's like unfortunately because like Singapore has adopted FHIR national level 4 years ago, but never show on the on this map.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether do we ask the HS7 Singapore. In fact, I'm also like in the committee, but maybe you send the chair, but chair maybe did not see the email. So maybe probably we should make the rule. HS7 chair, the affiliate should respond. If there's no response, should struck off the chair position. Right? I mean, HS7 can define this rule.
We have. Here is the co-chair.
Is that correct? Right?
No, we can address that because we have a new status for affiliates. Before we had only active, lapsed, or dead. Dead is like when you are not longer. And we have a new one which is inactive. So if you don't participate and you don't answer the emails, you are marked as inactive.
Then struck off the
And then, no, we cannot do that because they are independent organizations. But we can, I don't know what the process is later, but we are actually have, from this year on, we have a new status to mark those affiliates that are not being active.
Because for me, I know because some of the HS7 affiliate co-chair, the chair, like they take this in the marketing position. They do not do actual work.
Isn't there a deputy position that's just coming with the affiliate agreement?
Can you repeat the question?
I thought I had read somewhere in the new affiliate agreement that had passed earlier in the year that there was going to be like a secondary communication position that might help solve that challenge.
Instead of only one point of contact, we ask for two.
Yep, and that is part of the new affiliate agreement, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That was decided
so hopefully
last
that might
year
help
because
resolve that
we
challenge.
lost the person and we couldn't get the person again.
Okay. Any other questions? I have one. I was surprised by the outcome of the sub specs where, well, smart, not so much, but can you bring up that slide? CDS hooks was more popular than bulk. How is that possible?
Because it was previous, I think.
Is bulk data widely adopted outside of the US?
No.
Because this is one vote per country. So
Yeah, okay.
even if the US is like huge within the FHIR space, it will be underrepresented being only one country.
We may be skewed because we see the US happening things, but that doesn't mean that it happens everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think
I'm
we're
only
over time
moderator.
also.
Okay.
I'm sure who's doing the timekeeping. But yeah, no, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice.